edition of My Car Shop. Episode 27, I think it is, of the 47 4th Street Run. Forgot to look, sorry. Kind of excited today. This paint has dried real well on the intake. Everything's looking good. I'm going to hopefully get this thing buttoned up today. It's really cold and windy here, so I'm not happy about that, but you know, we'll get the temperature up here a little bit in the shop and then get after this project, and we might be able to fire this thing up again today, so that would be nice. I'd like to have this thing moving so I can get it in and out of here if the weather ever does warm up, because I want to start getting back on these fenders and a few other things. But you know, a lot of things we need to do here yet, obviously, but we're making good progress. Things are cleaning up nicely. It's going to look really pretty again, and I'm really happy for that. So I guess that's going to do it for the intro to this. So let's get the shop warmed up a little bit, and we'll get out here and get after it and get this engine button back up together today. So welcome to this episode. Okay, so I took the intake into the house and gave it a good bath and got it all cleaned up and made sure all the sand is out of it. That is one of the biggest fears and challenges in sandblasting an intake manifold, is sand getting into the engine. That would not be good. I gave it a real good soapy bath with hot water. I'm going to blow it out real good. I'm confident it'll be fine. I've done this before, but it's always a thing. Back in the day, I used to have access to a sonic cleaner, and I used to love to put intakes, you know, down into a sonic bath and just get them really clean, leave them in there for an hour, and they would come out amazing. But obviously, I don't have access to that anymore, so I'll do the best I can. And but a good hot soapy bath. Things are looking good. I just need to get my workspace cleaned up, make sure there's no sand here, get that intake over there, clean up the gasket surfaces, and get ready to set that intake down on the engine. There's a couple things I need to do over there to get it prepped, and a couple little things that I do for cosmetic purposes that I will show you, and we'll point out as we go along the way. So let's move forward. Okay, so one of the things that I like to do, depending on the gasket, is you'll notice here, when this gasket is on, a bunch of that blue shows in the middle of there, down by the crossover port. Sometimes I will just take a knife and cut that, but if it's a not a metal gasket, this is a metal gasket, so I'm not going to cut it. What I'm going to do is I just kind of marked where it is. I'm not going to be fussy about it because this really doesn't matter that much as far as a gasket surface. It's not critical. I'm just going to roughly mask that off and paint it black so it doesn't show up. I don't like that blue gasket showing. To me, it's very detracting from a good show quality, you know, engine. So let's get that done real fast here, and then we'll move from there. Okay, so here we are. Just finishing torquing down the intake. Everything's looking good. Real happy with it. And I put my torque wrench down because I got a phone call. I got my torque wrench, my Allen wrench, and now I don't know what I did with it. So there's that. There it is. So just checking the final torque on all of these, making sure everything is good. The center ones I have to use a cut-off Allen wrench to make work. So I have to do them by hand. I can't do them with a torque wrench, but pretty much know how they should feel. And then we'll get you over here and let you look close at what I've done and talk about what I'm going to have to do next. I'm always second guessing myself. Did I leave something laying in the valley pan? I trust my instincts. I've been doing this a long time and I don't ever do stupid things like that. Plus I have a video to go back and look at. But I'm confident I didn't. But those are the second guessing questions that you ask yourself, especially when you have OCD. Everything's feeling nice. I can't do. It's going to be done the old-fashioned way. Okay, we're good. Okay, so the next step then is I want to clean this firewall down because it's full of dirt and stuff from me blowing stuff out. But let me get you over here and show you a couple things. Okay, so it's probably really hard to see, but there's a couple little spots of blue like down in there. You can see one right there. I'll go back and touch that up with a brush. One down in there. Just little things like that, but for the most part it covered it. So I'm happy with that. That one for some reason isn't quite as covered, but that's the nature of aftermarket parts. So we'll get that all covered up, made black again, and it'll look phenomenal. Okay, so the intake is back on. Some of the stuff is starting to get hooked up. Got things cleaned up a little bit, so we're looking good. I do need to get in there with a little paintbrush and touch up some of the blue. I'll do that later. Next thing I want to do is get the distributor put back in, but I got to clean that up a little bit. I'm not happy with it. So that'll be the next part of the process here. The aluminum's just corroded from sitting around, so I'll put some aluminum cleaner on that. And the vacuum advance is also a bit rusty from sitting around for so long, so I'll mask that off. I was thinking about pulling it out, but I think I'm just going to mask it off and get it shot with a little bit of paint. I'll let that dry while I have some lunch, and we'll come back out after lunch and we'll sync that distributor. We're not far away from firing this thing back up now. Things are going well, so we'll get it fired up, make sure it's going to run, and then we'll make a game plan from there. So we're a couple hours out, but not long. Hey. So I'm back from lunch. When I left the shop to go back to the house to have lunch, it was snowing out. I don't know what the temperature is out today, but the shop won't even get 50 degrees today. I'll be very glad when I can get propane or the weather gets warm, one of the two. So bring this over to you, let you see it. Distributor looks really nice now. Not looking for perfection, but it had all kinds of white corrosion on it, and so I just cleaned it up a little bit. And then, of course, painted the vacuum advance mechanism on it. So that's good. Just going to double check the mechanical advance. Everything's good. That's what was stuck before, why it wasn't running good. So I think we're good to go here. Let me check that vacuum advance too and make sure it's working, but I'm pretty sure it is. Yep, it is. So I think we're good to put this distributor in. So there we go. Okay, so we're going to get this thing sunk down in here. Now you're going to wonder how I know how to time this, because it can go in there multiple ways. And the answer to that is very simple. I was paying attention to which way it was pointed when I took it out. So there's that. And that's not the way it was, so we'll back it off a tooth. Should be it right there. Yep, that's it right there. I remember it was pointed almost straight forward, not quite, a little bit to the driver's side. Makes it simple on myself. I don't have to think. I like not having to think. So let's get the clamp down on that. Let's see. Hopefully that's the bolt. Nope, that's not the bolt. That's the bolt. Okay. Got our distributor clamp all polished up real nice again, so that's good. Let's turn that thing back out of the way. Nice new gasket. The other one was torn, wasn't leaking, but I'm glad to have a fresh one in there. A little bit of grit in those threads. I have to take that bolt back out. Let's check it out here real quick. Run my thumbnail through it, that should take care of it. Yeah, a little bit of sand from sandblasting. Forgot to clean those. I did most of the other ones. I did all the other ones with a wire brush. Or ran a dye over them, one of the two. Yeah, there's still more crap in there. Let's get the wire brush since it's right here. Don't want muck in the threads, that's not good. Alright, that should do it. I never tighten my distributor down 100%. I should, but I never do. There's still some crap in those threads. I think we're going to be okay. Might be in the intake too. I did clean that out, but I didn't chase it. So, yeah, we'll be alright. Let's give it a wrench. Should be a 9/16. Yep. Oh yeah, it's turning fine. Just normally like things to go in finger tight, but whoop, knocked off my T-handle. Cheap Chinese crap. How we coming? Still a little loose. There we go. I like to leave the distributor just a touch loose so I can tweak the timing around while I'm still playing with it in the shop. Once I get it out on the road and do final time on it, decide where I'm going to run it, I'll definitely crank it down. But I can move it here, so we're good. Snug enough that it won't leak, loose enough that I can tweak the timing. And the vacuum advance was about right there, so I think we'll be fine like that. So I think we can throw the cap back on it. Get the wires run back over. You noticed I'm lazy. I didn't take the cap completely off as far as the wires. I left one side hooked up. Not that it's hard to figure it out, but why figure it out if you don't have to? Everybody, well, I don't say everybody, but most car guys know that firing order on a V8, pretty much the same no matter the make. I think Ford's a little bit unique in that on some. Not that I've done any in a long time, because I haven't. Even though this is a Ford, it's not a Ford motor. For those that don't know, this is a small Chev engine. You didn't figure that out by now. For those just joining us. Okay. Oh, let's have a seat. Okay, good. There we go. Let's see, I believe I'm missing a wire. There it is. Whoops. Get things untangled here. That looks like number 7. By length, I would say it is. Got lots of vacuum lines and things I got to move up in place as well. Kind of get things wiggled around here before I start tightening things down a little bit. Okay, well, that goes there, we know that. I do need to replace this this T. It's a little small. Don't like that. And then let's see, we've got, be careful the way those are crossed up. We're going to uncross here in a minute. As I was running these down the front, like so. Something else is going on here. What's going on? Hooked up on the wire over there, okay? And the throttle cable's in the middle of it. How does it do that? They're like snakes. There you are. Yeah, there you are. That's why she's short. Okay, and what else we got there? Vacuum line is clumped in the middle of her too. Go figure. There we go, that's better, I think. Okay. Yep, there we go. And let's see. Which one's number 2? Not that one. So that would make this one number 2. You've got a vacuum line stuck in the middle of it. Here's your question for the day. Put it down in the comments. What's the standard firing order for a GM and a Mopar? Those who get the right answer without looking it up will get a prize. The prize will be knowing the right answer. Let's see here. I should get. Okay. Double check myself here before I wreck myself here. That's number 1 right there. Okay. Good thing I looked. Can't remember if I made these wires or if I just bought them pre-made. Okay, there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Not sure which way I want that. We'll figure it out. So this one was that's why. Okay. It's funny, I'm confusing myself here. Okay, there we go. Where are you? There you are. Crazy thing, except I didn't get behind the dipstick tube the way I want. There you go. Okay, good. Now they're run out of the way. Nothing's going to get. I'm careful the way that's fitting around that vacuum line for some reason. I'm not sure what that deal is. Once you get the carburetor on there, we'll take a look at it. Yeah, that's right. I got them twisted around here. They're confusing me. There we go. That's better. All right, close enough for now. We'll double check them before we try to fire it. All right, let's get that carburetor on there now. Everything looks good. Just got to do a quick look over. About in the middle of this, I'm probably going to get a phone call because I just missed one, but that's okay. Missing my vacuum advance line. Gonna find that. There it is. I'm going to remember on a GM if it comes off ported vacuum or manifold. I want to say it's manifold vacuum on a GM. Oops, I think I got that backwards. Yep. Okay. Here, that's better. Line's a bit long, but we'll leave that way for now. Don't see any extra parts laying around. I think all the bolts are in where they belong. Distributor is kind of sort of where it belongs. Throttle cable's hooked up. Kickdown's hooked up. Ignition's hooked up. Coolant's not in yet, and I got to tighten down the temperature sensor. I better tighten that down now before I forget. Not going to put the coolant in it yet. That won't stop me from starting it. I'm not going to let it run long. That way, if there is a problem for some reason, I don't have to drain everything again. All right, that's good. All right, I'll get the battery hooked up here and see if she goes vroom vroom. See any magic smoke coming out? That's a good sign. Get the fuel pump turned on, get the carburetor bowl primed up. Sounds good. Fuel pump slowed down. Lots of squirty. All right, let's see if I embarrass myself. Cold, obviously. I don't have the choke hooked up properly. It's just kind of temporary. So timing is probably whacked right now, but that's okay. Okay. Always feels good when you put it back together and it takes right off with no problems. Figured it should. I've been doing this long enough, even on a General Motors. So we got to put the petcock back in the radiator and get the radiator filled back up. So that'll be the next step here. Yes, Michigan weather. Psycho, psycho, psycho. It's the Psycho Circus. Welcome to the show. Ridiculous. Okay, she's back together. The coolant is in. Still lots of cleaning to do. But I've accomplished my goals for today. Had one little minor glitch. The water neck was leaking. I replaced the gasket on that and everything's good now. Don't run it too long. I got no ventilation in here today. She's sounding good. Look at how pretty that intake looks now. Still a bit more cleaning to do, but it's looking good. Well, folks, I think that's going to do it for today's episode. It's Friday. It's pizza night. I've got to get going on that and get things ready for when my wife gets home from work. I've got to make a run, take up care of a couple of other things. But my goal was to get the intake back on today, get it running again, and that worked. So still have an issue with the water neck leaking a little bit for some reason. So I think I know what the issue is. So I think I'm going to have to get a new water neck. It's either that or the bolts are just a bit too long and not allowing it to tighten down enough. So I may try a little bit of shorter bolts first. But yeah, that's frustrating. But hey, it's hot rod stuff. That's the way it goes. So it's a bummer. So we'll get some paper towel on there to suck that up. Don't want to mess up my clean engine. So let's call it a day here in my car shop. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. Be sure to spread the word about the channel. We'd like to get more subscribers. Send it to other people. Share it. Subscribe yourself. Make sure you click the little bell to get all the notifications so when we put out new episodes, you're up on what's going on. If there's things you'd like to see, if there are questions you would like to ask, whatever you want to talk about, just shoot it down there in the comments, and we'll get to it. We'll answer them for you. Rock on.